This is such a big thing, right?
Thank you.
Come on, Jim. Good morning, Colin.
Morning.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Fantastic. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for-
I wanted to be kind of businesslike.
Can I see the other gift?
Hello and welcome to Qatar's first sports podcast, In the Game. I'm your host, Steve Mackey, and we can't wait to introduce you to everything that is sports here in Qatar and afar. We're going to be bringing you personalities, company owners, institutions, individuals that are making a real difference. So, with us, enjoy the journey.
It's fun, man. Sports is fun.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app. Hello and welcome to In the Game, Qatar's first sports podcast. It's QST Day today, and we have Golazzo. Have I pronounced that right, Antonio?
Yes, Golazzos.
Golazzos. Because we used to have a thing back in the UK, and I wasn't sure where or where with the World Cup. I think it was 86. Somebody's going to tell me if I've got that wrong. But the in Italy. And then all of a sudden this thing comes, Golazzo.
Yeah, it's right. You're on the right track. Well, in this side of the world, I'm located in South America. When the ball goes in, it's called a golazo. So that's where the name of the company comes about. It's the main outcome of a football game. That's what you want to do. Make a golazo. So that's why the name Golazzos comes about.
So how did you got that name? Because it's euphoria, right? So how did you come about the name?
Yeah, correct. So our platform and our solution is right now very focused on football. And as the main euphoria outcome, as you mentioned, is putting the ball into the goal. And in this side of the world, this is called a Golazzo. That's why we decided to name the company Golazzo, because that's the main outcome.
So I was on the right track, and I kind of all I kept on doing today was I knew that I was going to interview you. It's 6 o'clock here in Qatar. What time is it with you?
It's 10 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, fantastic. So I've been all day, I've been going, Golazzo.
Exactly. We have an 8-hour time difference.
Super. So please tell me about your journey so far with Golazzos.
Yeah. So, it has been an exciting journey because we have identified a big pain point in the marketplace. Just to make you a question, how many apps, Steve, have you downloaded and you open it once and you never used it again?
Oh, so many. Dear me. I would say 15, 20.
Yeah, well, imagine if you are the brand manager of a big brand like McDonald's. Okay, and you have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in creating an app and marketing the app, and it happens that 50% of the people that download the app don't use it. Wouldn't you feel frustrated with that?
Oh, dear me. After all I spent, yeah.
Yeah, well, this problem is not only of McDonald's, but thousands of brands face similar issues related to what's called brand activation, increasing digital engagement, stimulating sales, and rewarding their users. And what we do in Golazzos is we help brands achieve amazing brand activation results, making people want to return to their app. And what we do is we have a solution that is a sports gamification platform for brands and fans. And how it works is it works in three ways, pretty much. First, fans have the opportunity to predict the outcome of football games, like the score, the win-loss draw, or if famous player Ronaldo is going to take his shirt after a goal. Players play with points, not money. Golazzos is 100% free for fans. They second share the experience socially with friends. And third, they participate in fun competitions and tournaments, leveraging our gamification and fan engagement features. Not only this, but we reward fans with fabulous prizes like cool team jerseys, VIP tickets for games, and fabulous vacations, driving even more loyalty for brands. The cool thing is that going back to the McDonald's example, brands can embed Golazzos inside their app and activate tremendously fun football competitions where the brands can dramatically increase the app usage. And in the case of a brand like McDonald's, you can stimulate restaurant traffic, reward customers, and achieve awesome brand activation results. So at the end of the day, what's unique about what we're doing is that we are both about serving the brands and the fans with a solution that's easy, fun, and rewarding.
Why did you get involved in this in the first place, you and your partner?
Yes, well, we have been working for many years for top brands. I worked myself many years for Hewlett Packard. My co-founder Felipe worked for 10 plus years for a big media Hispanic network called Televisa and Univision. Is the biggest network in Spanish. It's like Al Jazeera in the Arabic world. And you know, by working with these brands and inside these brands, we identified that there were many pain points that needed to be solved. One of these pain points is what's called brand activation. And the issue, Steve, is that you have to give reasons to people to come back to your app. It's not only, hey, I have an app that and we're showcasing hamburgers, but how can you put some very exciting, engaging content so that people can come back to the app, engage in fun gamification activities, and of course, the brand can achieve their own marketing and sales results through this method. But you mentioned right now that maybe you have downloaded 10 to 15 apps and then you use it once and then use it anymore. That's prevalent in the marketplace. And the reason that this happens is that brands do not give good reasons for people to come back. And that's at the end of the day what we're doing in Golazzos. We're putting inside the digital assets of the brand, we're putting a cool platform where you can do fun competitions related to football and then give a reason for people to come back and engage with your brand and with your app.
How important is for startups to make sure that they find those? I love what you said, the pain points.
To find the pain points?
Yeah. So as you said, that you looked at something and you saw clients' pain points, and then you just built your idea around this.
Well, I think it's the most important thing for any startup to identify a real problem in the marketplace. And since we have been in the industry for so many years, and in fact, in what we do right now, we speak with brands every day, and we constantly find the same sort of pain points and issues. So a startup, the first thing that you have to do in the sports space too is identify what is the problem that you're solving and making sure that that problem is really big. And this problem is a huge problem because, you know, brands spend around $100 billion per year on brand activation activities, and most of them are unsuccessful. So what we're doing is bringing a solution to the marketplace so that brands can really achieve measurable results around brand activation activities.
And how long have you been going for? How long has it been your journey?
So we launched the platform last year. We signed our first partnerships. We have two big partnerships going on in South America. One with RCN, which is the biggest media company down in Colombia. It's like Al Jazeera in your area. Another one with a big digital media site called Futbolete. We're right now, I mentioned the McDonald's example because we're engaging in in a big project with them. They have a huge issue related to app use. And also we have right now a pipeline of around 30 plus brands, and many brands, Steve, spend millions of dollars in sponsorship. You know, when you watch a TV game, Steve, what do you see in the shirts of in the jerseys of the players?
Yeah,
Brands,
advertising.
advertising, brands. And what do you see in the stadium? You see brands. And you know how much do brands pay for just putting their logo there?
Millions.
Millions and millions. And then the question is then, how do you turn that sponsorship into measurable business results for the brand? Okay, because just putting a logo in a shirt, well, nice to see that you know, this company, you know, has their logo in the shirt of Barcelona or Real Madrid or Manchester United, but there's another level of how you activate that, and that's where we come in and we add value in that activation piece.
You're still so young. How have you done? Is it because you had all that experience and you knew the problems and where those pain points were that you're so advanced?
Well, that certainly is one of the aspects. When you have experience in an industry and you have worked in an industry for many years, you are able to identify the pain points. But it's also about having a world-class team behind to be able to execute and be able to perform and bring a product to the marketplace. Right now, in fact, we have with our own Golazzos brand, because we have the platform with our brand too, we have a community of, and we reach monthly 1.1 million people with our all social media networks. Because we have built that community right now, and it's still growing, and we're very excited with that. And the reason is because, you know, we of course have the experience, but we have the team to execute, because there's a lot of good ideas, but if you don't execute them well and you don't have the team behind it, they don't happen. And I think the key element here is team and execution.
Well done. Well done. I love the team aspect of things. I really do. It just so important, especially with startups. How many started off in the very beginning with you, and how quickly have you grown?
So we started, myself and my co-founder Felipe, and we brought in a tech lead to start to build the product. And after we started to get some traction, we brought in some more members to the team. In total, we are right now around 7-8 people. We have around 3 people in the technical side. We have around 3 people on the marketing side, and myself and Felipe. So we're still a small team, but we have a good motivation and skill set to continue our growth path.
Antonio, can you remember that first deal, and what did it feel like?
Well, it's just the validation of what you're doing is really solving a pain point and creating value in the market. And that's what you want to do as an entrepreneur. The best money that you can bring to a company is the customer's money, okay? And some entrepreneurs think that you should go out immediately and raise money from investors, which you should look at, but you should always be focused on getting paid customers to pay you for your product and service. And that has a dual effect. It brings you cash to the company and increases the valuation of the company and makes you more attractive to investors. So signing those first deals, you know, feel wonderful with respect to what you're doing is really creating tremendous value to your customer base.
What is Qatar Sports Tech? What is it to you? How did you find out about Qatar Sports Tech, and how have you enjoyed it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful. We are very happy with the program, And we found out because, of course, we are in the sports tech space and we continuously do research to see what are the opportunities that are out there. And we saw this Qatar Sports Tech program, and we thought it was very interesting because Qatar is the organizer of the Qatar World Cup 2022. And of course, we are very football focused, and we thought that we needed to get access to the Qatar sports tech ecosystem and network, and especially to the World Cup organizers. And in fact, I'm happy to mention today that we are moving forward some advanced conversations with the organizing committee of the World Cup to have Golazzos as the number one preferred gamification platform for the tournament. So we're very excited because the program is already paying off with key access and relationships to people in Qatar that really can add value to the company.
And your competitive advantage, why would somebody go with yourself? What are those unique selling points that you've got?
Yeah, the first unique selling point, and is very different to other solutions that you see out there, is that we, Steve, are very focused on both the fans. Okay, so the fans that use our fan engagement gamification solution, and on the other side, we are also very focused on the brands and how we can help solve the pain points of the brands. So I mentioned, for example, digital engagement. It was one pain point. There's another big pain point that's capturing data. So many brands want to capture data, and with Golazzos, we can capture great data about consumers. The other one is, for example, sales. So we can generate dynamics via codes to stimulate sales or reward users when they make a sale. And the final one is, how do you reward your fans? So for example, many brands, you pay a sponsorship, let's say of the World Cup or of a football team, and they have all these assets that they get with the sponsorship. And sometimes they don't know how to give them out to fans. So now with Golazzos, they have a mechanics, a process, a way of doing some gamification to give out those prizes. So when I look at the unique aspects, is that combination of having the fan side on the solution, but also having the brand side on the solution.
Did you ever believe this with this whole thing? Has there been any doubts in your progress? Has there been any kind of anything that you've had second thoughts with?
Well, you always, and that's a good practice for an entrepreneur, you should always be questioning your hypothesis, okay? Because being an entrepreneur is having a hypothesis about some sort of pain point, building a solution and testing it out in the marketplace and seeing if what you're thinking is right or is wrong. So you are like a scientist that is trying to solve a problem, and you post out there different sort of alternatives or solutions, and some of them work and some of them don't work. So I'm constantly bouncing our ideas or our thinking to investors, to advisors, to customers to validate. So other than speaking about doubt, it's more an iterating process of constantly validating that what you're doing is really creating value to the customer base that you're trying to serve.
That's a massive point for any startup that's going to be out there soon. It's kind of well said. That's absolutely fundamental. It's wonderful, brilliant. Going on to we talk about your clients and their pain points. It's like, what's their reaction to you so far with the tests that you've run, or with what you're already doing?
Well, very, very positive, because I'm going to give you some specific examples so that you understand the reactions of brands when we bring them our solution. So we are right now speaking to a brand in Latin America that's called Home Center. It's the IKEA of Latin America. So they're a furniture store, and they have paid probably a couple of $1 million to be the sponsor of the Colombian national team. So it happens that they pay for the sponsorship, and they have been inactive with that sponsorship for months. First, because of COVID, but second, because they have lacked sort of the tools or resources to be able to activate that sponsorship towards their user base or their clients. So they came to us, they learned about us somewhere in some sort of media communication that we made. And they said, well, we're interested in speaking with you because we have this sponsorship and we want to really bring it alive. So what we told them is, look, we can embed the Golazzos technology inside your website and start to organize some very cool, dynamic, fun tournaments to bring people to your site. And additionally, if people win in Golazzos, you can give them a voucher to go and buy in your store, so you can generate sales. You can excite people about, that sponsorship that you have with the Colombian national team. And they were really, really very excited about it because they saw a new way that was not present in the market before to do this. Additionally, when we showed them our numbers, we showed them that we can we can invest their marketing dollars at 50% less cost than alternatives. Okay, because when you combine, Steve, the power of gamification, that's what we do, the power of live events that are technologies related to live football, professional football tournaments, and lastly, the power of digital, we have digital metrics that are twice as better than alternatives. So for example, key digital metric, Steve, is click-through rate.
Yep.
That means that if 100 people see an ad, on average, 0.9% will click on it, okay? Our metric is not 0.9, it's 2.2%. So if people see an ad of Golazzos, of a gamification tournament, we have 2.2% people in click-through rate. Second key metric that we show to the brands. Typically, if people arrive to a website and you measure a conversion, that means someone leaves their data or they're registered. Typically, the key metric is sites would be less than 5% conversion rate between visitors and registrants. We have 20%. 1 in 5 people registered. And this is because you are getting into the passion point of the consumer. You're talking to them about football, you're talking to them about the Colombian national team, you're talking to them about gaming and gamification, and you have also a live event, that's a tournament going on. So when you combine those things together and you compare us with the alternatives, we're tremendously much better than an alternative that they can have, and they love it.
But this is one of the first times that I've heard of this win-win situation for everybody, from the team, from the sponsor, from the consumer, from the fan, from everybody's. And yourself, obviously, it's a win-win situation. You can be very specific about your giveaways because your marketing's working so much and you're not paying so much out and you can pinpoint the prizes so that you can save money in a certain area and then look at bigger prizes to give out. It's everyone's a winner, right?
It's correct. Everybody is a winner because we add value to all the sites. If you look at it from the teams and, let's say, federations that source sponsorship, well, what they want to do, a team and a federation, is if someone is paying you millions of dollars to put your brand in your shirt, you want to make sure that they achieve some sort of result other than additionally to seeing your logo on television, okay? which is great to see the logo, but what about if you can show results regarding visitors engaged with the site? You can show results about sales that have been generated. So there's a whole other layer of things that can be done that's called activation, and that's where we saw the opportunity, and that's where we capturing the opportunity. So the brands are happy because now they paid this money for sponsorship, and now they have a way to activate it. The teams and federations are happy because the brands are achieving results that they want to achieve. And on the other hand, we're happy because we're getting revenue, we're increasing the value of the company, and we're solving a real problem in the marketplace. So it's win-win for everybody. And at the end of the day, also the fans are happy because they're engaging in a gamification tournament, a gaming tournament, which is completely safe and completely free. So if they get right predictions, great. If they don't get it right, they don't lose anything. So it's win-win for all the sides.
And I want to just make sure that everybody gets this. So if, for example, at the moment you've got they're paying, I don't know, 100. Let's say, just for example's sake, they're paying 100 million to go on somebody's shirt, right? So that's the first part. So really, what are they going to get on return except getting their name out into the marketplace? Does it actually convert into money into that sponsor's pocket? And that's questionable. But now that everybody, and especially with esports, everybody's talking about the data. That's the gold is the data and the activity. So yeah. I can actually spend, so it's 100. So I could spend 25 million, whatever it may be. Okay. And 75 million, I can now put into other areas where I can entice more people to come and either watch the game or to participate in your application. That's how it works, right?
Yes, correct. So you touched on a first question, which is very important. It is why do brands sponsor teams or sponsor federations? And the way they typically measure it is, let's say you put your logo on the shirt of Manchester United, and that is going to have a TV exposure, and then they go and measure the TV exposure and the type of exposure, and they put a value on it, because that has, of course, a value in itself, just to show your brand. But that's also that's only the first layer. Okay, the second layer is what you say. Okay, is how a brand translate that into business results. At the end of the day, all the brands in the world want to sell their stuff. Okay, McDonald's wants to sell hamburgers, AB InBev wants to sell beer. All of them want to do sales activities, and they want people to like their brand so that they can generate more business. That's at the end of the day the goal. The second layer is brand activation. The first layer is brand sponsorship. Okay, so we are on the second layer, and in that second layer, there's a research firm that studies this, and brands typically spend $2.2 in activation per dollar in sponsorship. Okay, the issue is the effectiveness of that specific investment. So how effective you are in spending those $2.2 per dollar of sponsorship, and what type of results it brings you. So what we're bringing to the marketplace is a more efficient way to spend those $2.2 per dollar of sponsorship that they typically allocate to activate that sponsorship to achieve digital engagement, sales, to achieve rewarding their fans, and to capture data. Those are the four things that we help brands do.
Congratulations, really, congratulations. It sounds a no-brainer, but it's taken somebody like yourself to make this happen. it's kind of, it must be a wonderful feeling that you're going through. And I know that you've only got a certain amount of time for this podcast. Why have you only got a certain amount of time for this podcast?
Well, because I have investors knocking at my door.
I'm sorry to say that, because I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Where do you see this going? It's like you've had a sample of this. You haven't been going for very long, and this seems like it's going to take off like it's like nothing else.
Well, we have, I think, a tremendous opportunity in front of us. We started with football as our first sport. In fact, you mentioned esports. We're looking at expanding into esports too with the same model. And we really see that Golazzos, given the size of the market and the pain point that's out there, can become really a big, very valuable company in the marketplace in the region that we're mostly operating right now, which is the Americas, South America, Latin America, and the US Hispanic market. There's tremendous opportunity. But we see also, and we want to expand our footprint into Qatar. In fact, we are moving conversations, as I mentioned, with the World Cup Committee and other the Qatar Star League. And we want to expand, our footprint. But we see that this company can become an extremely valuable company. Hopefully, we end up in the unicorn category. We'll see.
I hope to see you there too, because you sound like, and your team, and I again, you've said all the right things about that. When you're talking about things, you're talking about your team and how important it is to have a team, and that brings me on to my next few questions. With any with any sports tech, what would a sports tech startup, what advice would you give them? What is the best advice that you would give to them if they were just starting out?
Well, first, I think sports tech is a tremendously exciting space. In the last 5 years, from the investment side, $19 billion have been invested by top venture funds in this space. So it's a very exciting space to be in. The first thing I would tell them is to identify a real problem to solve. We talked about this before. A real pain point, and that pain point is felt by many customers. So you have a big market out there, and I always say, don't fall in love with the solution, fall in love with the problem. So if you fall in love with the problem, you're constantly focused on solving the problem. If the first solution that you didn't create was not the right one, you can always change the solution, but the problem is still out there. So the fact of having a pain point to solve and focusing on that is key. And then you have to put resources to this. You have to put a team behind, and really pursuing it with perseverance and bring out as fast as possible a product to market to be able to validate it. Speak to customers. We constantly, every week, are speaking to customers, both to brand clients and to fans, and asking them, is this really working out? Are we screwing up somewhere? Okay, how can we better solve the pain points that you have? To the fans, are you liking the user experience? Is this product really engaging you? Do you feel that you want to come back to this product? Or do you just want to abandon us? So we ask tough, difficult questions because we want honest answers. And if the things are not working, we just take it and go to the board and change things. So we are not scared of receiving bad information. In fact, we love when people tell us, oh, this thing is not working or this other one is not working. So that's how we approach things.
Antonio, you'll never know. I've got a workshop and it's all about customer development. So you help me so much. I'm probably going to use you as a soundbite, as an example of what they should be focusing on. does it going forward? And I know that we're running out of time, and I've got to make sure that you can get yourself ready for these investors. But just one more question before we finish. Does it ever worry you with, it sounds like that your path is going to be just, you're going to have to, it's going to grow so quickly. Does it ever worry you about trying to keep up?
Well, that's the best problem that you can have as an entrepreneur. When you're not able to keep up, that means that you arrive to product market fit, and the market is desperately looking for you. And that's the best time to raise a lot of money to be able to supply the market with your product and service. So in fact, I'm not worried. I'm expecting it. In fact, we're starting to see the first signs of that to happen due to the amount of business activity that we have. So, you know, I think as an entrepreneur, you want everybody to love your product and everybody to want your product and everybody wanted to pay for your product. And if you get to that point, and that's a very important point, that's called product market fit, that's a good point that you should pursue. Now, the people, entrepreneurs always ask me, and colleagues, and I also do mentoring to other entrepreneurs and sometimes invest in their companies. They ask me, oh, how does it feel to get to product market fit? Okay, how does it feel that you got there? And in here, I always use a metaphor. Imagine, Steve, that you're going up a mountain and you're pushing a big rock, okay? So you're pushing the rock upwards, and the rock, of course, tends to go down, and you go 5 meters, and then you go back 10 meters, and then you go up and up and up. And that's how it feels before you are, before you have product market fit. But when you reach product market fit, then the ball starts rolling down the mountain, you know, and you have to catch up the ball. And that's when the fun part starts. That's when, you know, the ball starts rolling and all this demand comes to you. And then you just need to grow fast, grow your team, grow the operations, grow the processes, bring more people, because, you know, all the market wants to buy your solution, and you are trying to figure out how you serve the market in the proper way. So those are, like, just to give you a metaphor of how it feels. And the first phase is a very hard phase, just putting up the rock up the mountain, because it tends to go down and you push it up and then it goes down again, but at some point it starts rolling, and that's where you want to be.
And what a brilliant way to end the podcast. Antonio, you have been a wonderful guest, and I can't wait to see you in that area of unicorns. I wish you, I know that everybody wishes you all the success in the world. It's great to hear a success story, and it looks like you've got one in your hands right now. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Steve, it has been my pleasure. I enjoyed very much the conversation. I have had a lot of fun, and you know, we can keep in touch for future opportunities, and I'm gonna be very close hearing all the great content that you're creating for your podcast. So thank you very much.
Antonio, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody, thanks for listening. Again, so many valuable gold nuggets there. You have got to listen to this podcast, and you've got to go through them, because there was such value there. Good luck in the future, Antonio. Thank you very much again. And everybody, thanks for listening. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app.